Yeah, so I tried speedrunning Fable for a week to get over my fear of going fast, Ricky Bobby style. I know nothing about speedruns, so the entire first day I literally didn't even finish the game. Okay, so I finished the game, but I finished the 2004 version of the game, and there was a 2005 version made right after that you're actually probably more familiar with. That's the TLC version. It's the next kind of edition they came out with. They released a lot of cut content, and all of this cut content it introduced, a ton more quests into the game, another in-game boss, added a lot more to it. So, basically, what I'm getting at is for this speedrun, I'm playing the much more recent remaster, 2014's Fable Anniversary. Without further ado, here is what happened that first day. Do a little Fable speedrun. I've never speedran anything before, so this is baby's first speedrun over here. I'm aiming for sub 2 hours, but We'll see how far I get. First day I started off super confident. I thought since I had put so much time in when I was younger, that I would just waltz in and get a sub 2 hour run. Boy was I wrong. I was so blissfully ignorant that first run, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. For context, I maybe watched like 2 videos from years ago with outdated speedrunning tech and somehow thought that I could do the same. I was not a part of the speedrunning Discord, so I had no idea that people were still, to this day, optimizing routes. And to put the cherry on top, I didn't even think to check speedrun.com for the most recent official speedruns in the game, where I would have seen multiple people putting up runs from fairly recently. With my limited knowledge, I marched on. The beginning wasn't too bad, thankfully. I may not have had the route memorized, but I had heart. Just a boy speedrunning the game on pure intuition. I ended up finishing Childhood in 3 minutes or so, and entering the Beetle section of training around 4.5 minutes. The entire time I'm doing training, I'm thinking I'm making great time. I should also mention I'm playing this first run with a controller, which is not super common, as a lot of the exploits and speedrunning tricks rely on the mouse and keyboard setup due to Fable's Anniversary's poor menu system for the keyboard and mouse. The way it was explained to me is that it's almost as if it was an afterthought by the developers. Like last minute they said, oh shit, this will be on PC, and then had to quickly throw some bubblegum and duct tape together. All of the input fiasco aside, one of the other things I wanted to point out is that I'm only speedrunning up until the point of killing Jack of Blades for the first time. Partly because I'm hoping to warm up to being able to speedrunning the entire thing, and partly because that was the end of the game when I was a kid. Like, the credits would roll in the 2004 version of Fable after that fight. I did ultimately want to run the entire thing, but that would have to wait for another day. Halfway through this first run, absolute tragedy struck. I accidentally hit the hotkey to reset the speedrunning software timer, therefore setting me back to 0 after an hour of running. I was not aware at the time that I could just hotkey an undo button that would fix it, so I ended up taking my best guess at when the timer was reset, and ended up just being a minute or 2 off of the actual time. For tonight, I marched on and ended up playing through every single mission with no fancy tricks, aside from light summon clipping and some trade exploits to get me some extra cash. I played through fairly normally, and by the time I made it to Jack of Blades for the first boss fight, I was already 2 hours into the run. Inflame should hit. Let's see. Looks like Inflame hit, boys. This is the end of the game. This is the first attempt. This is my first ever speedrun. My first attempt ever. I think I have some improvements, some areas to, with the Hob speed glitch with the summon. I feel like that would have been huge. That would have got me an extra 5 to 10 minutes. That is the end of the base game. Now starts the bonus content, right? So for day 2, I did some practice off stream and ended up setting a personal best on the overall time for that first mace fight, or that first Jack fight. And I didn't record any of it. So, and it was off stream, couldn't get the VOD. So I decided to use day 2 to try and just recreate that off-stream personal best. And it was a bit of a doozy. One thing I want to explain a bit more is game time versus real time. Real time is simple. That is how long in real time you took to beat the game. Loading screens, piss breaks, alt tabs, all included. Game time is load removed, which means the speedrunning software will pause on loading screens. That way you're not paying time that you have no control over. On top of that, some systems just have better hardware and will load the game faster than other people's hardware. So the removed load screens are a way to level the playing field and get a more accurate idea of how long it actually took you to beat the game. So day 2 comes along, you know, I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling like good shit. And then lo and behold, I have issues, right? So there is a strategy called load warping, where you basically kind of cheat the game, trick it into thinking that you're in one save when you're really in another save. You know, I'll get more into the details later, but essentially I loaded into the incorrect save, which prevented me from continuing with the trick, which ultimately made me lose a lot of time. Because of this issue, I just called it early. I got an hour into this speed run, and I just wasn't feeling it for the night. That leads me into day 3. Day 3 is what day 2 should have been, just getting the feel for the route and trying to stay on par with my off-camera pace. For this run, I was only 10 minutes behind my off-camera legendary goated status run that I didn't get any footage of. The only other significant thing I can say for day 3 is that one of the chatters you may have noticed, Chewbacca Chills, has been in my corner since day 1. Now this guy is kind of the unsung hero of this entire challenge. I didn't realize this the first day because, you know, he'd just come into my chat, but this guy is on the leaderboards, like serious on the leaderboards. At the time of me doing the speedruns, he was at the top with a 56-minute speedrun in this game. While I was doing my speedrun for day 3, Chewy invited me to a one-on-one call that following weekend. If I were to go through a list of everything we talked about in that one-on-one conversation, I would have to make an entire video dedicated to just that. He essentially just gave me some tips and tricks about the routes that they're currently using. And by they, I mean the Fable speedrunning Discord community. I joined the Discord server, I popped in, I asked a few questions. Ultimately, if you really want to know the secrets behind speedrunning Fable, all of the ins and outs of the speedrunning in Fable, you probably don't get it from me. Probably just join the Discord server. After our one-on-one, things started to change. After learning the ways of the Force, I came hard at day 4. I was now armed with an entire arsenal of tricks and gizmos to lay down my best run yet, and that's exactly what I did. I added menu manipulation to my repertoire, meaning I could make my character a god in the first 10 minutes of the game. Not only that, but I added the holy grail of summon clipping to my tool belt as well. You see, one of the things that we talked briefly about was the VJoy Feeder. VJoy Feeder is essentially a program that allows you to summon clip through walls, barriers, doors, whatever. It just allows more consistent summon clipping. So essentially the way that I understand the way that it works, when you're running around, soft target different entities, their bodies will light up. And on the controller, whenever you use the ability Assassin's Rush, it will rush in the direction that you are facing rather than the target that is soft targeted. And the feeder program allows you to do that on mouse and keyboard because you can't by default. So I ditched the controller completely. I even switched my game language to French, and with all of those things combined, I was leading into a pretty serious day for day 4, and it paid off. I was able to not only beat just the base game, but the entire Lost Chapters content as well, which would put me even closer to having a real qualifying run. There was still a lot more work that needed to be done if I wanted to even get close to that leaderboard in any serious sense of the word. Day 5 started off rocky. I had a few resets during childhood and lost a few seconds while fighting the beetles and duping my XP. Things started looking up around Orchard Farm, where I got a personal best, and not long after went on par for the next few splits. For those not familiar with LiveSplit, the speedrunning software, whenever you see the color green, that means you're currently on par for the time you previously put up. Not better, not worse, right? Well, as you can imagine, the red means you lost time in that area, but the gold means you're hitting a personal best, the fastest you've ever completed that split, and that shit is like crack to me.
Broadcasting live right now from your mom's house.
Nice.
Ah, fuck yeah, that's the stuff. Day 5 was tremendously successful. I hit my summon clips as if God himself were on the keys, my rolls were buttery delicious, and my dad came back after 20 years of buying milk and ciggies. Things were looking up. So I decided right after my Jordan flu game level speedrun that I would practice my threes, metaphorically of course. What I'm trying to say is I practiced more, I honed my craft. I ran the menu manipulation practice runs a few times and I was getting more addicted each time. I had tasted the coattails of greatness, so I was all in. Day 5, as great as it already had been, just kept getting better. After practicing a bit, I jumped right back into another speedrun for the night. This time I was primed and ready. Things ended up going just as smoothly as the first time, and I ended up cracking my own score. I was way too tired to continue for day 5, but I learned a ton in the process. Just little sections here and there I felt like I could clean up. The first run I was able to complete the second boss fight with Jack in a game time of 1 hour 10 minutes. And the second run I cleaned up some mistakes where my summon clips were getting stuck, during the Bandit CRS quest, and ended up netting a 1 hour 7 minute run for the second speedrun of day 6. While there are no other significant notes about day 6, I want to say, again, that the speedrunning Discord is the ultimate place to pop in and ask questions. And there is a channel for each Fable, so you can check out what folks are doing, not just in Fable Anniversary, but 2 and 3 as well. And with that said, menu manipulation. This is a big one. This exploit only works in Fable Anniversary, and it is glorious. Remember how I was saying earlier that the mouse and keyboard are an afterthought by the devs? Well, that is because you can select an ability, any ability, it works on all of them, and click on the tabs at the top of the XP menu with the previously selected ability, and navigate up or down with the arrows at the top and bottom. You can hit enter at any time to buy the ability that you're hovering over, and it will pay for it with the cost of the previously selected item. Long story short, speedrunners have essentially solved the entire menu route that you need to become a god in just over a minute. Me personally, the fastest I ever did the route was around 1:30 minutes. Now that I've explained menu manipulation, I want to briefly cover load warping. Not only is it a game that I play with your mom, I've been doing it this whole time, and it looks harder than it really is, and it also doesn't require a mouse and keyboard to pull off. You can do it with a controller. Essentially what it is telling the game to load one save. You do it near any entrance or a doorway, and then quickly back out of the menu, and then run, roll, or interact with the doorway that you're standing next to. The result is it loads your quests and your progress, while loading your character into the doorway that you quickly entered while backing out of the menu. It'll take a few tries to get, but once you do get it, it's hard to stop. Sure, you'll miss a few here and there, but after some practice, you should get it on lock, and it should be second nature. I've had the chance to hone and practice these skills since around the day 3 4 mark, and I did some off-stream practice as well that I don't have any footage for. So loading into day 7, I was feeling probably the most confident I had ever felt during this speedrun. I mean, I was putting up some really good times. 1 hour 7? Who am I? The current world record is 54 minutes. And after 6 days, I'm top 15? Too much was going to my head. I had to take a few days off and stream some other things, but in the back of my mind, I knew day 7 had to happen.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Yeah, so about day 7. Remember how a few moments ago I said my ego was getting too big? I had to take a few days off? Well, I took about a week away, and in that week somehow lost all of my ability to do the run itself. It was a 5.5 hour stream where I just kept losing pieces of the run and I'd have to restart all over again. I would forget a key item here or forget to make a save in an important location, often costing myself significant chunks of precious time. I made improvements in some areas such as the prison escape quest where I finally locked in the skip for the Kraken boss fight, which saves a stink nasty amount of time. I also improved my final boss fight time with Jack by taking advantage of a load warp trick that locks Jack into this weird, giant, stun-locked version of himself, where you could easily kill him pretty quickly. The last improvement I made is I also had a really solid XP dupe time that led me to getting a personal best for Orchard Farm. But by the end of the run, I had made too many smaller mistakes, and that ultimately led up to a net loss, finishing the speedrun in a humbling 1 hour 20-minute real time. With it being the last day of the challenge, I decided to try running it back once more. I'm sure you're probably saying, just throw in the towel, you don't have to beat your previous time. 1 hour 7 minutes game time is really good for a beginner. Yeah, well, you're right. I ended up starting but not finishing the final run due to me forgetting to make a key save. However, I was determined to at least get close. I mean, it's not all about being faster every time. From what I've learned, a lot of it is consistency. Getting close to that record time and time again is what builds the muscle memory required to perform the perfect route. So even if I got close to the 1 hour 7 minutes, then mission success, right? I'm consistently under an hour 30 minutes, which is miles better than where I started off in my first speedrun, where I couldn't even beat the first Jack fight in less than 2 hours and 20 minutes. So therefore I had zero complaints, right? Wrong. I decided to do a bonus day. The bonus day, I didn't really expect to do anything great. I just wanted another day at it because I genuinely enjoyed the speedrun. Around day 4 is when it started to click for me, and after joining the Discord and watching runners like KJ Freshly, Legitimacy, Chewy, Sarah Vinza, I was fully invested in the craft, was actually interested in doing better. So this bonus day is for the love of the game. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on. 10651. Huh? 10651? With a little bit of alcohol and a lot of bit of confidence, I jumped into my final run of the challenge and grabbed the bull by the hooves. Things were shaky at first, lagging just a bit behind my day 6 run in the first half, but I locked in and finished the second half strong, which ultimately led to me breaking my 1 hour and 7 minute time with a 1 hour 6 minute time. As hyped as I was, it was blatantly clear that I was not going to get any significant jumps and time saves, and a lot of my time would boil down to how well I was hitting my movement. I'm happy with my 1 hour 6 minute time. It shows if you really try, you may not be the best, but you might surprise yourself. The only thing left to do is upload the run to speedrun.com, which I totally forgot to do, so I will do that now. With the challenge in the rearview mirror, I can only look back on it as a positive experience. I met some cool people and got to experience a game I've loved since childhood from a new perspective. All in all, I think this was a really good game to start my speedrunning journey on, and it only serves to show that you can do whatever you put your mind to, and if that thing is speedrunning Fable Anniversary for a week straight, then Godspeed to you, and watch out for those beetles. Take care, stay hydrated. Peace.
I want you all to think about these and write in funny riddles.